hut at the edge of the village. My name is Den. My home is in Korat. I am now 40 years old. The story I will tell happened over 20 years ago. I have been following the Samphod Sayong channel for a while now. I really like the admin storytelling, so I want to share my experience for you all to hear. The story goes like this. When I was fully 18 years old, I came to look for work in Chonburi province, staying with my older sister and brother-in-law. I started looking for work by walking into an industrial estate in Chonburi. I spent many days applying for jobs but couldn't get one. I applied at many companies by filling out applications and leaving them there. I told them to leave the door of my rented room open because in those days mobile phones weren't common like today. I had to wait for them to contact me to call me for an interview, which took quite a while. One day around 3 p.m. the room owner came to tell me someone had called for me to go for a job interview the next morning at 8 o'clock. He also told me the name of the factory. I was very happy to finally get a job after waiting for almost 2 months. That night I couldn't sleep at all because I was so excited about getting a job. In the morning I went to wait in front of the company. It was a small factory related to food. After waiting a while, I went in for the interview and passed. They told me to start work on Monday, because normally the days they scheduled interviews were Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When Monday arrived, I started my job there. Please follow the next part. The supervisor took me to get acquainted with the senior colleagues. After I was there for a while, I started becoming close with several friends who were not much different in age. The group we were close with had 4 people: me, Chai, Tom, and Wit. Wherever we went together. Drinking, singing, karaoke, we always went together. As time went on, we became even closer. Especially Chai, he was a quiet person, not much trouble, easygoing. We knew each other for about a year or more, and it was nearing the New Year period. The 4 of us discussed going back home to the provinces. Everyone said the same thing. They weren't going back. As for me, I wasn't going back because I didn't want to see my ex-girlfriend who had just broken my heart. About 2 days before the holiday, Chai came and said his grandmother wasn't well and he had to go home for New Year's. So me, Tom, and Wit thought we should go visit Chai's house too. We asked Chai if we could go with him. When Chai heard this, his face fell noticeably as if he didn't want us to go. But we didn't care. We kept talking and persuading him so we could go. He then said his house in Udon Thani was difficult to live in. There was no electricity, and only 3 people lived there: himself, his younger sister, and his grandmother. But no matter what he said then, we didn't care. We just wanted to go. So he agreed to let us go. We arranged to meet at the Udom Suk bus station in Chonburi province to take a bus towards Bangkok and then connect to Udon Thani. When the day we arranged arrived, I came to wait at the bus station first. Then I saw Chai walking over. His face looked stressed. He told me Wit and Tom weren't going anymore. As I was about to ask why the bus arrived, so we got on. At that time, I saw Chai's face didn't look very good, so I didn't ask him further why Wit and Tom had suddenly changed their minds. I could only be angry at both of them in my heart. During the bus ride, Chai and I didn't talk much. The 2 of us sat on the bus for quite a long time. By the time we reached Udon Thani, it was already 10 p.m. When the 2 of us got off the bus at the entrance to the village, I looked around and saw it was completely dark all around. Chai told me his village didn't have electricity yet. We had to walk about another 2 kilometers. From there we started walking and talked sometimes to break the silence. After walking for a while we reached the village. Every house was silent. I didn't see even a single lamplight. But I thought maybe people in the countryside go to sleep early, which is normal. The two of us walked on past the village that was only dark and desolate in a way that's hard to describe. I looked around at this house, that house, and my heart trembled. After walking a bit further, we passed the village. I called out to ask Aychai, "Isn't your house in this village?" He answered me, "It is, but my house is at the end of the village." As we walked past the village, I saw a lamplight nearby. Please follow the next part. I thought it must be Aychai's house for sure. So I asked him if it was his house. He answered yes. But I felt strange. Why were his grandmother and younger sister still not asleep? Even though it should be around 11 p.m. by now and people in the village were all asleep already. Also, Aychai had said his grandmother wasn't well, so she should have been resting since early evening. I walked along thinking until we reached the front of his house. His house was a small hut, the roof thatched with decaying grass. The walls were covered with old advertisement signs and politicians' election posters. But it was just as Aychai had said. His home was poor and difficult. When we arrived at the front of the house, I met Aychai's grandmother sitting in front of the hut. I raised my hands and said hello. "Sawadi krap, yai?" Aychai's grandmother spoke up. "You've arrived. You arrived late." Aychai said the traffic was heavy during the festival. Then the grandmother called Aychai's younger sister to bring water for the guest. After a moment, Aychai's sister brought out water. When I saw his sister, I was stunned by her beauty. Her name was Nin, about 2 years younger than me. Nin's face was fair and smooth, her complexion was white. Even looking at her in the lamplight at night, she was this beautiful. How much more beautiful would she be in the daytime? Even I saw her and liked her. Nin brought the water to me with a shy expression, then walked back into the hut. I never thought Aychai would have such a beautiful sister because Aychai himself was dark and not handsome at all. After I finished drinking the water, Aychai's grandmother asked me where I was from and how old I was. I answered her, then asked her back. "I heard Chai say you weren't well. How are you doing, crap?" Because from what I saw of her then, she looked quite strong and didn't look old like someone in their 80s. She answered me back. "Sometimes sick, sometimes not. It's the way of old people." After talking for a while, Aychai told me to go sleep because I must be tired from sitting on the bus all day. I went into the hut and saw there were 2 mosquito nets. I turned to look at the other net and saw Nin sleeping there, so I went to sleep in the other net. After a while, Aychai followed. He came into the net and fell asleep. As for me, I wasn't sleepy yet. Maybe because it was a strange place, or maybe I was thinking about Nin's face, I don't know. After a while, I drifted off to sleep. I don't know how long I slept, but I startled awake late at night because I heard a sound like someone opening the house door. When I turned to look, I saw a figure's back looking like Aychai's grandmother. But I didn't think much of it, thinking she probably went out to urinate. So I went back to sleep. Then I startled awake again because there was a sound of the door opening again. This time I saw Aychai's grandmother walk in. Then she walked directly into Nin's mosquito net. When morning came, I saw everyone was awake already. I invited Aychai to go buy some beer to drink together because I didn't know where else to go for fun in a village like this. But he told me there were no shops in the village. If we wanted to drink, we had to go into the city. Hearing that, I felt very bored, so I asked him if I could just go for a walk around the house instead. As I was about to get up, Nin said she wanted to go too. I almost smiled until my cheeks hurt, quickly agreeing. But I felt a bit strange. Why did Nin ask to go with me even though we had only just met? But one part of my mind thought, Nin probably likes me already, haha. From then, Nin led me walking around aimlessly until we reached a banana grove. When I was about to walk in, Nin said, "Don't go in. There are many mosquitoes." So I didn't go in. Nin led me walking further. Because I believed Nin, I suggested going to play in the village. She said there were many fierce dogs, and if they saw a new face, they might attack. So I didn't get to go. Then we returned to Nin's grandmother's house. I spent several boring days at Ai Chai's house until there was only one day left. Then I had to go back to work. One part of me wanted to go back because I was bored, had nothing to do and no beer to drink. But another part didn't want to go back because of Nin. I sat thinking until evening. Everything was normal like every other day. But what was strange was Ai Chai seemed quiet. His face looked sad. So I asked him what was wrong, but he remained silent. So I asked again, "Don't you want to go back? Are you worried about Yai, Grandma?" Because Ai Chai's grandmother, during the daytime, she would just sleep, looking like she had no energy, which was different from nighttime when she looked energetic and normal, like a different person. But Ai Chai didn't answer anything. After that, I went to take a shower. When I finished showering, I walked back and saw Ai Chai sitting and drinking beer already. Beside him were 6 bottles of beer along with ice. Then he called me to come sit and drink with him. I asked him, "Where did you get the beer from?" He said, "Just drink it. I saw you wanted to drink for many days, so I went to buy it for you. Or aren't you going to drink?" I didn't answer anything because I was confused about when he went to buy it. The shop was in the city, but I thought, never mind, having it to drink is good. From then I went inside the house to change clothes. I saw Nin walking back and forth as if restless about something. So I asked what was wrong. Nin walked over to me, pursed her lips, gesturing not to make noise. She pulled my arm at the side of her mosquito net and said, "P, brother, tomorrow let me go with you, okay?" I asked Nin where she wanted to go. She then said she wanted to go to Bangkok with me too. Please follow the next part. After she finished asking me, it looked like she was about to cry. But before I could say anything more, Nin's grandmother opened the door and came in. At that moment, Nin looked very startled. She backed away from me quickly. Nin's grandmother asked in a strong, scary voice, "What are you doing?" It seemed like Nin had done something seriously wrong at that moment. So I answered for Nin, "Nothing, crap. Nong's sister just asked if I would come visit again next year." Then the grandmother went straight to sleep in the mosquito net. As for me, I went out to sit and drink beer with Ai Chai. Ai Chai asked me who the grandmother was scolding. I told him it was nothing and invited him to drink more. Then we changed the subject. Even though I was with Chai at that time, in my mind I kept thinking about Nin. Why did Nin have to ask me to go with her? Why didn't she ask Ai Chai, who is her older brother? And why did she have to be so scared of her grandmother? After I had been drinking for a while, I felt that I was very drunk, probably because I hadn't drunk for many days, which made me get drunk quickly. But I continued drinking as company for Ai Chai until all 6 bottles were finished. Then we went to bed. I fell asleep soundly very quickly due to the effect of the beer. But after a while I suddenly woke up because I felt a strong urge to urinate, couldn't hold it anymore. So I said I would walk out to urinate outside. After getting out of the mosquito net, I turned to look at Nin's net. The grandmother and Nin were sleeping in the net, so I slowly stepped out. After coming out, I walked to the side of the hut to urinate. That night wasn't very dark because there was faint moonlight. While I was standing urinating, my eyes looked into the banana grove and saw a black shadow, one shadow in the banana grove. It was walking towards me. I was startled and very scared, thinking who would be walking around at such a late hour like this? And I hadn't even finished urinating yet. That figure walked towards me very fast, like running. I quickly stopped urinating, pulled up my pants zipper and jumped to hide behind the water jar nearby. In my heart at that moment, let me tell you, I was very scared. Scared until I peed my pants. That figure gradually became clear until I could see it was an old woman. I couldn't see the face, but I saw her body was covered in blood, especially on her palms, which could be seen very clearly. Then that grandmother walked to the hut, opened the door and went inside. It gave me goosebumps all over my body when I realized that must be a pob for sure. But why did it go into the hut? Or was it going to eat someone inside? At that moment I was trembling all over, very worried about Nin and the people inside the hut, but didn't know what to do. Going in, I didn't dare. Then it occurred to me to shout to wake everyone up. At least they would wake up to be my company too. But before I could even step out from behind the jar, I saw Ai Chai's grandmother open the door and come out, which made me feel a bit relieved. But why did Ai Chai's grandmother's hands and clothes have only blood on them? She walked around looking as if searching for something. Then suddenly she turned her face towards me and smiled. It was a very scary smile, so much so that I was almost shocked. Without delay I ran headlong towards the village without thinking about my life. After that I couldn't remember anything at all. The last image I saw was Ai Chai's grandmother standing looking at me from the hut. I regained consciousness at a shop. When I woke up, before I could say anything, there was an older man who took me onto the back of a pickup truck and drove me to the main road. He waited with me for the inter-province bus for a while. The bus arrived. That older man didn't say anything to me at all. The older man walked to talk to the bus driver, along with giving me 200 baht and told me to go. I was very confused about what had happened. How could it be? And would Ai Chai and Nin know that the grandmother was a pob? And why didn't any of the villagers say anything at all? When I returned to work on the first day, I met Ai Tom and Ai Wit. They asked me, "Where did you go? Did you go back home? Didn't you say you weren't going back?" I was stunned for a moment, then asked them, "Please follow the next part. Why didn't you guys go to Ai Chai's house?" They answered, "Well, Ai Chai told us he wasn't going back anymore. His grandmother was better. So did you and Ai Chai ditch us all and go home?" The answer I received made me even more stunned. Why did Ai Chai lie to Wit and Tom? And why did he have to lie that there were no shops in the village? And many more things I suspected but couldn't find answers for. After that day, Ai Chai himself never came back to work again. What was it all about? It has been a question in my mind for 20 years without an answer. And finally, I leave this story as an experience to consider. If anyone thinks of visiting a friend's house in a remote area, decide and think carefully first, because it's not certain that stories like this might still remain. Forest Shortcut Royat Chonburi. Hello Samfad Story Channel, my name is Daruni. This story happened to me and my boyfriend. We had arranged to travel to another province, planning a 3-day trip. But that day, my boyfriend finished work later than usual. By the time we could start our journey, it was almost 3 p.m. already. We intended to travel to Chonburi province, which required traveling from Royat province. It takes many hours to travel because the distance is over 500 kilometers. When the two of us finished preparing, we started our journey using a private car. We drove along steadily, not rushing. After driving for a while, my boyfriend told me, "Check the GPS for me because it seems like we might be lost." So I picked up the phone to look, opened the GPS, and my boyfriend stopped the car to look as well. While I was looking at the GPS, I felt strange that this road was a 4-lane road, but there were almost no cars driving on it at all. The road was quite deserted and very empty. At that moment, my boyfriend glanced and saw a road sign that read to Chonburi. But it wasn't a normal road sign, it was a handwritten sign seeming to indicate it was a shortcut or something like that. We didn't pay attention to it and just drove on. After driving for a while, it was very late by then. My boyfriend must have been tired because he had driven a long way. So I told my boyfriend to find a gas station or a rest stop around there to take a break first. But strangely, we had driven for many kilometers, but looking along the roadside, there was only forest. There were no villages, gas stations, or rest areas at all. Until I started to worry, afraid that my boyfriend would fall asleep. So I said to my boyfriend, "In that case, let me drive instead. You sit and rest first." After that, my boyfriend found a way to pull over to stop the car and switch to let me drive instead. Normally, I'm someone who doesn't drive much because whenever we go anywhere, my boyfriend is always the one who drives for me every time. If I drive myself and don't know the route, I will open the GPS and travel according to that. But that day, when I tried to use the phone, there was no phone signal at all. The internet signal was also gone. But I didn't think much of it because I thought maybe we were in the forest and close to the mountains, which caused the lack of signal. I continued driving, reading the signs along the roadside. The atmosphere at that time was very scary because there were no cars passing at all. It felt like the two of us were completely alone in the forest. If the car broke down suddenly, what would we do? But all I could do was just pray to May Yanang, guardian spirit in the car, to protect the people in the car to reach the destination safely. I prayed silently in my heart and continued driving. After driving for a little while longer, I saw something nearby. It had a shape resembling a person. As I got closer, I started to see that the thing was a woman, probably no older than 20, standing beside the road. Because at that time I had turned on the high beams, since there were no cars passing at all, it made me see her clearly. But I felt strange that in a forest that was both quiet and desolate like this, without even any houses nearby, how could someone be standing right there? I thought in my heart, I must have encountered it for sure. So I tried to stay calm, thinking in my heart, please don't let her come and do anything to us. Because what if an accident happened on this road? Then the unexpected happened. As the car started moving closer and closer to that woman, she slowly tilted her face up to look. The face of that woman was covered in blood. The skin was peeling off, and there was pus flowing profusely all over her face. It was very scary. I unconsciously pressed the accelerator until the car shot forward strongly. I myself didn't even know how hard I pressed the accelerator at that time. The jolt of the car caused my boyfriend to start feeling aware and move a little, but he didn't wake up. I felt I didn't want to be there anymore, wanting to get out of there as quickly as possible. But just as I was about to drive past that woman, the body of that woman ran and hit the car door on the driver's side where I was sitting. I was extremely startled and very scared, so much so that I didn't dare turn to look. After driving past that figure, I immediately looked in the side mirror because I was afraid that woman might be holding onto the side of the car with us. But I didn't see anything abnormal. When I collected myself, I quickly turned my face to look at the road ahead, but it turned out that the road ahead was a sharp hairpin curve. At the speed I was going then, I definitely wouldn't be able to brake in time. I thought there was no way I would survive. Surely I would die. Out of panic, I quickly hit the brakes and swerved the steering wheel suddenly. But luckily I was still able to control the car. I almost hit the guardrail on the side of the road too. My boyfriend, who was sleeping, startled awake in shock. Then he asked me, "What happened? Are you sleepy? Why are you driving like this?" At that moment I was very shocked, just sat silently, my body trembling, my heart racing. I thought in my heart, what happened to me? Why did I see a ghost so clearly? After a moment, when I started to calm down, I answered my boyfriend, "It's nothing. Just a dog ran across the road, so I had to swerve suddenly. I'm sorry," and told my boyfriend to sleep more. After that, I drove on continuously and started thinking in my heart that perhaps I survived because of sacred things protecting me. Or perhaps it was because of the prayer I made to May Yanong before driving off. So I decided to pray again, asking for sacred things to protect me, asking to find people's houses, to find the route to reach Chonburi quickly. After I drove for less than 10 minutes, I started to find a village. There were bright lights on both sides of the road. It made me feel much more relieved. I thanked the sacred things that protected both of us and thanked May Yanong for protecting our car from having an accident. I drove for a while longer and found a gas station, so I decided to stop at the gas station to rest the car and rest ourselves too. After parking the car, I quickly went down to wash my face, buy snacks at the convenience store. My boyfriend also woke up to wash his face just like me, and then switched to drive instead so I could rest bong. Not long after we drove out of the gas station, even though some time had passed, my heart was still pounding from the incident that had occurred. Please follow the next part, because the image I saw was still stuck in my eyes. When I thought about it, I startled until my boyfriend turned to look at me, held my hand and asked, "What's wrong? Are you tired? I'm sorry I had you drive for me." I immediately replied back, "No, it's not that. I'm scared." My boyfriend made a confused face and asked, "Scared of what?" So I decided to tell him the whole story that happened. After he'd listened to the entire story, my boyfriend became silent, not saying anything. After a moment, he replied, "When I was sleeping in the car, I also dreamed of a woman just like that. I saw her standing by the roadside, then slowly tilting her face up to look. Her face was very messy, couldn't see it clearly. I felt very scared and shocked until I startled awake from the dream, and then I dozed off again. So I thought back. Perhaps it was because when I saw that woman, his subconscious might have seen the same thing as me too. So I told my boyfriend, "In that case, tomorrow morning let's have my younger brother take us to make merit at the temple for that woman, okay? So she won't have to bother us again." We continued our journey until we reached Chonburi. After greeting my younger brother, we unloaded our things from the car and went to rest. When morning arrived, my aunt, the head of the kitchen who is close to us, knew that we had traveled here, so she came to visit us early in the morning because my aunt loves and is very close to my boyfriend. After that, we cooked together. After finishing the meal, my younger brother asked my aunt, "Auntie, where is there a beautiful temple around here?" Ajarn, referring to boyfriend, wants to offer Sankathan and pour water, merit making. Out of suspicion, my aunt asked, "Why go to the temple? You traveled so far, you should go sightseeing somewhere beautiful." So we started telling the whole story that happened to my aunt. When my aunt heard it, she was shocked and told her niece-nephew to prepare Sankathan offerings, drinking water and other necessities to go make merit for that woman. Then we all got in the car to go make merit at a temple not too far from where we were staying. Out of curiosity, I asked my aunt, "That road we passed, why were there no cars driving at all?" My aunt started speaking. "That road is very haunted. Nobody dares to pass through that area unless they get lost. The people who drive on that road at night are usually only ghosts or those who aren't afraid of ghosts." After learning this, my boyfriend and I discussed it later that on the way back we would definitely not return at night, or if possible we would avoid using that route altogether. Forest shortcut Roy et Chonburi. Call me Daruni. This thing, it happened to me and my boyfriend. We'd planned it for weeks, a little 3-day getaway to Chonburi, just us. But things have a way of going sideways, don't they? He got held up at work, finished way later than planned. By the time we finally hit the road heading out from Royet, the afternoon was already bleeding away. Nearly 3 o'clock. Chonburi was a long haul, over 500 kilometers of road spooling out ahead. Felt like chasing the horizon. Got everything packed, settled into our own car and started the drive. No rush, just eating up the miles. After a while, maybe an hour or two down the highway, he glances over at me. "Hey," he says, a little frown creasing his forehead. "Check the GPS, will you? Feels like we might have taken a wrong turn somewhere back there." So I pull out my phone, tap open the map app. He slows the car, pulling over slightly so he can glance at the screen too. And that's when it hits me. This road, it's weird. 4 lanes wide, smooth asphalt, but empty. Dead empty, like unnervingly empty. Not another car inside going either way. Just us and the endless stretch of road cutting through. Well, mostly just scrub and trees. A lonely, hollow feeling started creeping in. Just then he points. "Look, that sign." It wasn't one of those official green government signs. This was rough, handwritten on a piece of wood, nailed to a post. Just 2 words and an arrow. To Chonburi. Looked like someone's idea of a helpful shortcut, or maybe a warning. We looked at each other, shrugged it off, ignored the sign, drove on. Mistake. Maybe. We kept driving. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky orange and purple, then finally surrendered to the darkness. It got late, real late. I could see the exhaustion settling on him, his shoulders slumping a bit. It had been a long, hard drive already. "Maybe find a gas station," I suggest softly. "Or just anywhere to pull over for a bit. Rest up." He nods, scans the sides of the road. But here's the thing. There was nothing. Kilometer after kilometer clicked by on the odometer, but the view outside the windows didn't change. Just trees, forest, an endless dark wall on either side. No flickering lights of a village, no welcoming glow of a PTT station, not even a roadside food stall. Just Emptiness. A knot of anxiety started tightening in my stomach. What if he nods off? Out here? Hey, I say, trying to keep my voice light. Why don't I take over for a while? You rest your eyes. He finds a spot on the shoulder, the gravel crunching under the tires as we pull over. We swap seats. Truth is, I barely ever drive. He's always the one behind the wheel. On the rare times I do drive alone and don't know the way, the GPS is my lifeline. But tonight was different. I glance at my phone. No signal, not a single bar. Internet, forget it, dead as a stone. Okay, I think, trying to rationalize. We're deep in the woods, maybe near some hills. Signal gets patchy out here. Yeah, that had to be it. So I drive on, relying on the infrequent faded road signs that loom out of the darkness. And the atmosphere, man, it got thick, heavy, scary. Still no other cars, not one. Felt like we were the only two people left on Earth, swallowed whole by this endless forest. A cold thought slithers into my mind. What if the car breaks down? Right here, right now. What would we even do? All I could do was whisper a silent prayer to May Yanong, the spirit guardian some believe resides in vehicles. Keep us safe, get us through this, get us to Chonburi. Praying in my head, gripping the wheel a little tighter, driving on into the oppressive dark. We drive for what feels like an eternity, but maybe only 10-15 minutes. Then, up ahead, caught in the sweep of the headlights, something, near the edge of the road, a shape, vaguely human. My heart gives a little jump. I lean forward, squinting. As we get closer, the shape resolves itself. It's a woman, young, maybe not even 20, just standing there, by the side of this dead empty road miles from anywhere. I have the high beams on, no oncoming traffic to worry about, right? So I see her clearly. Too clearly. But why? Why is she here, in this silent, desolate forest? No houses, no lights, nothing for miles. How did she even get here? Who is she? The cold thought from earlier comes back stronger this time. Oh no, this is it. It's a ghost. It has to be. My breath catches in my throat. Stay calm. Just drive past. Don't look too close. Don't provoke it. My mind races, praying frantically now. Please, whatever you are, just let us pass. Don't hurt us. Don't make us crash out here. Because if something happened now, on this road, and just as the thought forms, just as we begin to draw level with her, the impossible happens. She lifts her head, slowly, looks right at the car, right at me. Her face. Oh God, her face. It's wrong. Utterly, hideously wrong. Covered in blood. Dark, slick blood matting her hair, streaking down her cheeks. Skin peeling away in strips, revealing something raw and wet underneath. And there's stuff, like pus, thick and yellow, oozing from everywhere. Her eyes, I can't even describe her eyes, just dark holes in that ruined mess. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Instinct takes over, pure animal reflex. My foot slams down on the accelerator, hard. The engine screams, the car leaps forward like a startled horse. I have no idea how fast we're going, the speedometer's a blur. The sudden lurch jostles my boyfriend. He stirs, mumbles something in his sleep, shifts slightly, but doesn't wake up. Thank God he doesn't wake up. I just want out. Away. Now need to leave this thing behind us. But just as we're about to speed past her, just as I think we're clear, her body, that ruined, bloody figure, lunges, moves with impossible speed, slams into the side of the car, My side, the driver's door. Wham! The impact jolts the whole car. I scream, startled out of my wits, terrified beyond belief. I wrench the wheel, fighting to keep control, heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. But I don't look. I can't look, can't bear to see what's attached itself to my door. A few agonizing seconds later, maybe 50 meters down the road, I risk a glance. Side mirror. My hand is shaking so badly I can barely focus. Is she clinging there, riding along with us? Nothing. Just the dark road receding behind us. Empty. A shaky breath escapes my lips. Relief, cold and weak. I force myself to look forward again, focus on the road ahead. Hairpin curve. It looms out of the darkness, a terrifyingly sharp bend I didn't see coming. A hawk sock curve, they call them. Wickedly tight, and I'm going way too fast. No time to brake properly, no time for anything. We're going to crash, we're going to die. Right here. Panic spikes again. I stomp on the brake pedal with everything I've got, simultaneously yanking the steering wheel hard, trying to force the car into the turn. Tires screech, protesting against the asphalt. Metal groans. For a heart-stopping moment, I think we've lost it. The car slides, fishtails, heading straight for the flimsy-looking guardrail. But somehow, I regain control. We skid through the curve, tires barking, engine whining, but we stay on the road. We're alive. We almost kiss that guardrail, inches to spare. The violence of the maneuver finally wakes my boyfriend. He jerks upright, eyes wide with alarm. What? What happened? He gasps, looking around wildly. Are you okay? Were you falling asleep? Why were you driving like that? I can't answer, just sit there gripping the wheel, shaking uncontrollably. My mind is a whirlwind of terror and disbelief. What just happened? Did I really see that? That face, that impact, so clear. Too clear. After a minute, maybe two, when the trembling starts to subside just a little, I manage to find my voice. It comes out weak, reedy. Nothing, I lie. Just a dog. Ran out in front of us, had to swerve, sorry. I turn to him, force a shaky smile. Go back to sleep, I'm okay. He looks at me concerned, but eventually settles back down. I drive on, slower now, much slower. My mind keeps replaying the last few minutes. That face, the impact, the near crash. How did we survive that? Was it the prayer? Was Mei Yanang watching over us? Or just dumb luck? I decide not to take any chances. I pray again, silently, fervently. Please, whatever powers watch over this road, protect us. Help us find people, help us find the way to Chonburi soon, please. Not even 10 minutes later, lights, up ahead, real lights, bright lights lining both sides of the road, a village, houses, signs, civilization. A wave of profound relief washes over me, so strong it almost makes me weep. Thank you, I whisper to the darkness, to Mei Yanang, to whatever forces might be listening. Thank you for getting us through. A little further down the road, the blessed sight of a brightly lit gas station appears. Hallelujah. I pull in immediately. Need to stop. Need to rest the car. Need to rest myself. I park the car, kill the engine. The silence feels immense. I stumble out, legs still shaky, and head straight for the restroom to splash cold water on my face. Buy some snacks, a cold drink, anything to feel normal again. My boyfriend wakes up fully now, gets out, stretches, washes his face too. Seeing I'm still shaken, he insists on taking the wheel from here. Let me rest. Soon we're back on the road, leaving the sanctuary of the gas station behind. Some time has passed, maybe half an hour since it happened. but my heart is still doing a frantic drum solo against my ribs. Because the image, that face, it's burned into my mind. I close my eyes and it's there. I think about it and I jump, a little involuntary shudder running through me. He notices, reaches over, takes my hand. His grip is warm, steady. "What's wrong?" he asks gently. Still tired. "Hey, I'm really sorry I made you drive back there." "No," I blurt out, maybe too quickly. "It's not that, I'm scared." He gives me a puzzled look. Scared? Scared of what? And right then I decide, I can't keep it in. I have to tell him. So I do. I tell him everything. The woman by the road, the horrifying face, the way she ran into the car, everything. When I finish, she's just silent, staring straight ahead at the road, knuckles white on the steering wheel. For a long moment, he doesn't say anything. Then he speaks, his voice low, almost a whisper. "When I was asleep back there, I had a dream about a woman." My blood runs cold again. "Yeah," he continues, still not looking at me. "Saw her, standing by the road in the dream. She looked up, her face. It was all messed up. Couldn't see it clearly, but it was bad. Felt scared, really scared. Woke me up for a second, I think, then I must have drifted off again." We drive in silence for another minute. His dream. My reality. Was it possible? When I saw her, did some part of him deep down in his sleep see her too? "Okay," I say finally, my voice firmer now. "Tomorrow morning, first thing, we ask my brother to take us to a temple. We make merit for her. For that woman, okay? Maybe then she'll leave us alone." He just nods. We drive the rest of the way to Chonburi without incident. Greet my younger brother, unload our stuff, try to shake off the lingering chill of the journey. We crash early. Next morning, my aunt, she's sort of the matriarch, runs the kitchen, and she's always been super close to my boyfriend. Hears we're here and comes over bright and early. She adores him. We all pitch in, make breakfast, eat together, trying to pretend everything is normal. After the meal, my brother turns to my aunt. "Pa," he says, "know any really beautiful temples around here?" Ajarn, a respectful term likely for my boyfriend, wants to go make some offerings, pour the water, you know. My aunt looks curious. "Make merit? Why now? You just got here after driving all night. You should be going sightseeing." And that's the opening. We look at each other and then I start talking. Tell her the whole story. From the empty road to the bloody face, the impact, the near miss on the curve. As she listens, her eyes get wider and wider. By the time I finish, she looks genuinely shocked, maybe even a little scared herself. She immediately starts bustling around, telling her own kids or helpers to gather things, proper food offerings from monks, drinking water, other necessities. "For the merit making," she says grimly. "For that woman." Soon we're all piling into a car, heading to a temple not far from my brother's place. On the way, I can't help myself. "Pa," I ask, "that road we came in on last night, why was it so empty? No cars at all?" My aunt shivers slightly even in the daytime heat. She says, shaking her head, "That road, it's Heian, haunted, very haunted. Nobody uses it if they can help it, only if they get seriously lost. They say the only ones who drive that road at night are ghosts, or people who aren't afraid of them." My boyfriend and I exchange a look. Later, when we were alone, we made a pact. The drive back. No way we were doing it at night. Absolutely not. And if we could find a different route altogether. Yeah, that sounded like a much better idea. So that's my story. What do you think? Ever experienced anything like that out on a lonely road? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, won't you? See you in the next clip. Story from Dad, the were-tiger. Alright, picking up where we left off, after the first chilling tale, Dad, Grandpa Ta that is, told about his time working deep in the forest, the one that got Knit and Plow all worked up. If you missed that one. Story from Dad. Part 1, Curse of the Forest Spirit. You can probably find it. This part starts not long after that fateful call came through from the police station. News about a kid they'd found, bearing a striking resemblance to Cain, Knit's little brother who vanished without a trace years ago. Dad had dropped everything, rushed off on the train to the station, desperate to see if it was really him. He didn't get back until late, sometime past 10. Knit overheard him talking to Mom, his voice thick with a familiar weary sadness. He looked like him, Nom, Dad said. Same age, so much like our Cain. But it wasn't him, not our boy. Mom Nom just broke down, then quiet sobs shaking her shoulders. Oh, Cain, she whispered through tears, where are you? What's happened to you? They held each other, another hope dashed. It had happened before, these false leads, these moments of soaring hope followed by crushing disappointment. But they never gave up, never stopped searching, trying every possible avenue. You're exhausted, Dad murmured to Mom. Let's get some rest. And they went inside. The next evening after dinner, Knit and her younger sister Plow were dutifully washing the dishes. Grandpa Ta was nearby, helping pass the dirty plates and stack the clean ones in the drying rack. As soon as the last dish was put away, the kids made a beeline for Dad. Pay up time, he'd promised them. Finish your chores and I'll tell you the story of the Saming, the were-tiger. Neat was buzzing with anticipation. She'd only ever heard the name, whispered as a threat by grown-ups since she was tiny, whenever kids got too rowdy or cried too loud at night. Be quiet or the Saming will come snatch you up and eat you. Dad chuckled, told them to gather round on the porch outside, same as always. Pla snuggled onto Mom Nom's lap, and Dad began. This happened way back, Dad started, when I was younger, helping out old man Juan cutting some branches at his place. Juan, he'd been a hunter in his prime, a real old-timer. His house was something else, walls covered in animal skins, horned heads staring down from every corner. Felt like the forest had come inside. Anyway, I was taking a break and Juan starts showing me his trophies. Points to this one wall. Hanging there, taking up almost the whole damn thing, was this huge tiger skin. Bigger than any tiger I'd ever imagined. Stared at it, shocked. How in God's name did he get something like that? Must have seen the look on my face, Dad continued, because Juan just grins, this knowing look in his eyes. That, he says, tapping the massive pelt, is the hide of a Saming, a were-tiger. Me and your grandpa's song, your mother's father, we brought it down. Tracked it deep in the forest back when we were hunting. Well, hunting more than just deer. Now I'd heard the stories, the legends, Dad said, leaning in slightly, but never thought they were real. We're tigers. Come on. But Juan, he wasn't the type to spin tall tales. Straight shooter. Looking at him the way he talked, you couldn't help but believe him. At least mostly. Juan told me it happened when he was a young man. Dad went on. Call him on back then. Lived in this tiny village tucked away, swallowed by mountains on all sides. Just him, his wife Kayo, pregnant with their first child, her younger brother Deet, and her father Old Song. Just the four of them in the house. One morning On and Dit are out working the garden patch when Long, a neighbor, comes running up, face pale, shouting for help. His little girl Fawn, only 11. She'd vanished, gone missing since the evening before. Lung told them Fawn had been playing hide-and-seek with the other village kids near the edge of the forest as dusk settled. Standard kid stuff. Except Fawn never came home. Her mother searched frantically, calling her name until her voice was raw. They all went back to where the kids had been playing. Dad's voice lowered slightly, followed the edge of the trees, pushing a little deeper into the woods. And then on. Or maybe it was Old Song. Juan wasn't clear on that bit. Saw them, tracks, big ones, tiger tracks, too damn big. They followed the tracks, Dad said, pausing for effect. Didn't take long. Found her near the base of a massive tree, Fawn lifeless. What was left of her? It wasn't pretty. Mauled badly. Huge claw marks raked across her small body. Flesh torn away. You could see bone. On and Dit ran back fast as they could to tell the village headman. Fawn's mother, searching nearby, heard the commotion, heard the terrible news about her daughter. She just collapsed, fainted dead away. The village held a quick funeral. Dad continued. But a shadow fell over the place after that. Fear. Everyone knew a man-eater was out there, lurking in the woods just beyond their homes. They started being careful, locking doors, keeping kids close. But it didn't stop. People started disappearing. One here, two there. Small families, terrified, packed up what little they had and fled to relatives in other villages. Those who had nowhere else to go could only pray. Pray the tiger wouldn't choose them next. On after seeing those tracks, he went straight to Ta Song. Dad explained. Song was a hunter too, see. They usually hunted together, bringing back game for the pot, selling the extra if they got lucky. But lately, the forest had gone quiet. Animals were scarce. On figured it out then. The game had fled, scared off by the big cat. That's why they'd been coming home empty-handed so often. He showed Song the tracks he'd found near Fawn. Song took one look and knew. Huge tiger. Starving, probably finding it hard to hunt its usual prey. So it turned to easier game. People. Song told On to get busy. Make crossbow bolts, big ones, lots of them. Be ready for whatever came out of the woods. Right about here, Nit remembered she started feeling that familiar pull of sleep. The warmth of the evening, Dad's deep voice. But she fought it. Didn't want to miss a second. She wriggled closer, rested her head on Dad's sturdy thigh. Through closing eyelids, she saw him look down, a soft smile touching his lips. Her ears, though, stayed open, drinking in the story. So one night, Dad's voice rumbled on and Ta Song went out, stakeout. During the day, they'd built a nangran, a hunter's platform, high up in a big tree overlooking a natural salt lick, a din pong. The plan was simple. Wait after dusk. Animals come for the salt, get thirsty, head to the nearby watering hole. Thwack. Easy pickings from the machan. But that night something was off. Hours passed. Silence. The kind of deep woods silence that presses in on you. No rustle of deer, no grunt of wild boar. Nothing came near the salt lick. Then suddenly, footsteps, someone crashing through the undergrowth below. On instantly raised his crossbow ready. But it wasn't an animal that stumbled into the faint moonlight filtering through the leaves. It was Dit, Caillou's brother. Out of breath, panicked. Brother on, Dit gasped, looking up wildly. Come home, quick, it's Caillou, she's in labor, the baby's coming, I gotta run back now, get help. And just like that, Dit turned and plunged back into the darkness, disappearing into the trees. On's heart leaped. Dad said, a baby, his baby. He was scrambling, ready to climb down right then and there. But Ta Song put a hand on his arm, held him back. Hold on, Song whispered, his voice sharp with suspicion. Think. How did he know we were here, on this platform? When we built it today, he was back at the village working the garden, wasn't he? On froze. Dad narrated. Song was right. It didn't make sense. This deep in the forest, pitch black. How could Dit navigate straight to them without a torch, without making a sound until he was right underneath them? Wait till morning, Song advised grimly. If Caillou's truly in labor, Dit would have found help by now anyway. On hated it, his mind racing with worry for his wife, but he knew Song was right. Something felt terribly wrong. They settled back down, crossbows ready, senses straining in the dark. They waited all night. Nothing else came. First light, Dad continued. They climbed down, hurried back to the village, still empty-handed. As they approached their house, there was Caillou, walking around the yard, stretching. Very pregnant, yes, but showing no signs of labor at all. And nearby was Dit, calmly splitting firewood. On walked straight up to him. Dit, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. Last night, did you come out to the forest? Did you call me? Dit looked up, surprised. No, brother, why'd you ask? What? On felt a chill despite the morning sun. Last night, you came to the machan, said Caillou was having the baby, told me to rush home. On stopped mid-sentence. The realization hit him like a physical blow. If that wasn't Dit last night, then who, or what was it? Caillou, seeing their intense, troubled faces, came over. Ta Song rubbed his weathered cheek, his eyes narrowed. Must have been the saming, he muttered, trying to lure us down, get us off the platform. On Caillou Dit, their eyes went wide with shock. Ta Song explained, his voice low and serious. When a tiger kills and eats enough humans, the spirits of its victims can possess it, twist it. It becomes a saming, a were-tiger, able to take human form, to trick people, lure them to their deaths. Right then, On declared, gripping his crossbow tighter. Tonight, we go back. We wait on the platform. We hunt the saming. But Ta Song shook his head grimly. Won't work on. Ordinary arrows, ordinary blades. They won't kill a saming. You need magic. Blessed weapons, charms, things we don't have out here. He paused. Unless we find its weakness, its vulnerability. Every creature has one. Find that and maybe we stand a chance. Nit, listening with eyes closed, felt a faint pressure, a warmth beside her. Someone had snuggled up close, resting their head gently on her stomach. Didn't open her eyes. Must be Plaw, she thought drowsily. Plaw must have gotten scared by the story and crept over for comfort. Made sense. She just kept listening, drifting on the edge of sleep, hearing Dad's voice weave the rest of the terrifying tale. So the next night, Dad's story went on. On and Ta Song were back up on the Mashan. Food was running low back home. They had to get something. The forest was silent again, deathly quiet, like a graveyard. Suddenly On looked down. Through the leaves he saw a figure moving below. A Buddhist monk clad in saffron robes carrying the traditional umbrella tent, the grot, and his meager belongings. The monk walked steadily towards the base of their tree. He stopped, looked up. "Ho, Aymen On," the monk called out, his voice calm. "I am on Thudong pilgrimage, passing through this area. I wish to set up my grot here for the night's rest. Would you be so kind as to come down and assist me?" On thought, a holy man needs help. His first instinct, born of respect and piety, was to climb down immediately. But again, Ta Song's hand clamped onto his arm, stopping him. "Thank you, Luang Por," Ta Song called down respectfully, but his voice was tight. "But stay up here On. Let's be sure first. Look closely. Remember what I said about the eyes. Aymen's eyes. They're hard, fierce, no light in them." Problem was, Dad said it was dusk again, shadows lengthening. Hard to see the monk's eyes clearly from up high. The figure just stood there below them, silent, waiting. A cold dread started creeping up On's spine. The air around the tree felt icy. What happened next, Dad said, his voice dropping, was chaos. He seemed to skip over a confusing detail Juan might have told him. Suddenly there was this tremendous crack. Sounded like the whole forest shuddered. Maybe the platform shifted, maybe Ta Song just lost his nerve, but he lost his footing somehow. Just as the monk below started moving closer, maybe looking up, Ta Song yelled out, his voice filled with terror. No light in his eyes. It is the Smiy. On was startled, aimed his crossbow, but hesitated. What if it was a real monk? A terrible sin to harm one. Below, Ta Song was scrabbling, trying to regain his balance, maybe clinging to a breaking branch. The monk, the thing, was moving faster now, circling the base of the tree. On knew if it decided to transform, it could leap up onto the platform in a heartbeat. Ta Song, desperate, closed his eyes, started chanting prayers, asking the spirits for deliverance. And maybe, Dad mused, something hurt him. Because right then, out of the darkness, an owl, just a common forest owl, swooped down silently. Its talons didn't go for the monk himself, but for the very tip of the pointed grot he carried. The monk screamed, a horrible piercing sound of agony. He dropped the grot, swatting wildly as the owl flew off. On stared, baffled. Why would the monk scream like that, just from an owl grabbing the tip of his umbrella tent? A real monk wouldn't even feel that, let alone react with such pain. Unless the realization struck On like lightning, the tip of the grot. That's it. That's the weakness. No hesitation now. On aimed his crossbow not at the robed figure, but squarely at the pointed tip of the fallen grot. He squeezed the trigger. Thwack. Another shriek tore through the night air, this one higher, more unearthly, filled with rage and pain. The monk's form seemed to twist, shimmer, dissolve. And in its place, for just a second, On saw a glimpse of a massive tiger snarling before it bounded away, vanishing into the deepest shadows of the forest. On was left trembling, stunned by what he'd witnessed. Below, Ta Song finally let go, dropping the last few feet to the ground. Luckily, the platform hadn't been that high up. He landed hard but was mostly okay. Just some scrapes, a bruised knee. On quickly threw down a rope, helped the old man climb back up. Safely back on the platform, Ta Song immediately pressed his palms together, weighing to the Buddha amulet he wore, whispering thanks, calling his Quan, his spirit, back to himself after the shock. On did the same. They stayed up there huddled together until the first gray light of dawn filtered through the trees. Didn't sleep a wink. Morning came. They climbed down stiff and weary and started the long walk home. Empty-handed again. No game. But partway back, Dad said, a slight smile touching his lips now. They saw it. Drops of blood. Dark spots on the leaves leading off the path into a thicket. Carefully, cautiously, crossbows ready, they followed the blood trail. And there it was, sprawled in a pool of its own darkening blood. A magnificent, huge, striped tiger. Stone dead. And right there, punched clean through its forehead, entering the skull and exiting somewhere out the back, was An's crossbow bolt. Well, An said, nudging the massive carcass with his foot, a grim smile playing on his lips. Didn't get any meat, but we got ourselves a tiger skin, a damn fine one. And that, Dad concluded, looking around at the kids, was the very skin old man Juan had hanging on his wall. The one he got after finally moving away from that haunted village years later. Dad clapped his hands softly. All right, story's over. Off to bed, all of you. Nit stirred. Plah, she mumbled sleepily to the warm presence beside her. Go sleep now. She felt the weight lift off her stomach as the sibling presumably got up. Nit blinked her eyes open and saw Plah fast asleep, curled up peacefully on Mom Nom's lap, way over on the other side of the porch. A wave of confusion washed over Nit. Who was lying next to me then? She shivered slightly. Must have drifted off myself. Dreamed it. Yeah, that had to be it. Just a dream brought on by the scary story. She got up, went inside to brush her teeth, and crawled into bed. Tomorrow Dad would tell one more story. His last one for a while. He was leaving the day after, going off on a job with friends in another province. Be gone for over a month this time. Nit knew she'd miss him terribly. Thinking about Dad, about stories, about sleep. She finally drifted off.